All right, everybody, welcome again to another episode of Max and Howard Drink Beer. I am Max.
And I am Howard.
Today, once again, we are joined by our good buddy, Steve.
Hello, everyone.
So, Steve is hanging out, he is helping out, he is doing all sorts of fun things. He is our beer lad for the day.
Right, yeah.
He has been hunting down beers for us. We're still talking about the beer maiden thought process. Turns out that my wife, Sam, has a costume.
Yeah, so there's your sexism right there for you.
So she has a beer maiden costume. So Jera, when you're ready, we can discuss further beer maiden things, but we'll talk about that later. So Howard, why don't you tell us what we're going through today?
Well, we're cooking through the sampler pack here. We're still on Breckenridge, a fine Colorado beer, and it's a really good standard beer. It's really good if you're from the state of Colorado. It has some things to leave desired for. Actually, Max likes them a lot.
I am actually enjoying them.
That makes you feel any better.
I'm a little worried about this one. I really don't like IPAs.
And that's kind of the fun thing about IPAs. They're such a polarizing beer. You either really like them or you really don't. And we got a buddy, Morgan. Morgan he's a big IPA guy.
He is a big IPA
Morgan
guy.
likes to say, I like it when it tastes like freshly cut grass.
Yeah.
That's when you have a really good IPA.
Well, and I'm seeing that right here that it has notes of citrus and pine.
Right. And see, I'm more of a citrus guy. I like the citrus accents.
I think you're confused about your love of IPAs because it's really a love of rattlers.
No, it's a love of fruity things. You can take that any way you want to. But I like the citrus. I like the sour aspect of IPAs more than the bitter aspects of IPAs, and that's why I kind of don't like the the lakefront IPA. Mm-hmm. That's more of a really bitter taste to it. It's almost pineapple-y. I don't know if you've ever had a
it's
lakefront IPA.
It's interesting that you say that because that's like the IPA around our area.
Right, exactly.
That's when you say IPA, you know that. Nobody's talking about Hazy Rabbit or,
right, no.
Or Hop Fiend, which I believe is technically a double IPA, if I remember right.
Hop Fiend.
Yeah.
Which one's that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I had it one day out of, dare I say, a dare.
Dare.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what happened to Sam's car. It got hit by a dare.
Yeah. Okay.
Too soon? Too soon. Probably too soon.
Probably for her. We can laugh about it down here. I don't think the ladies can hear us up there.
They'll
hear us later.
That's how you know she's throwing stuff at us.
But what's going to be interesting, Max? What I'm really looking forward to, is it going to be a little bit more bitter on the bitter side, or is it going to be a little bit more
it's bittery
on the sour side? So that's what I'm kind of looking at. Oh man, you know what it smells like? Freshly cut grass.
This is Morgan. We'll save that last one for Morgan.
Yeah, it does smell piney.
If he gets out, he's been working all through the day.
Take a sniff, Steve. What do you think? It smells like a Christmas tree.
It
almost.
does, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna let Max take the first sip here. I know
really
he
don't
loves
want to do this.
IPAs. I might have to finish his IPA. Oh, he's grimacing a little bit. It's
not about that life.
Yeah, sharp, bitter.
It's definitely bitter. You got the aftertaste. I'm still talking. It's still bitter. I'm not a fan of IPAs.
I gotta tell you, on my end, I talk about the real big kick of the lakefront IPA, and Sprecher is about a notch higher than the lakefront IPA. I would say this is just about a notch lower. Yeah, you still got you got the pine needles in there. You're chewing on some of the pine needles in there, but it's still a little bit light. It's got a bite to it, but it's still got the light. If Steve drank this, he would say, "Wow, this tastes like beer." And that's what it tastes like. You get that little bit of kick, but at the core of it, it still tastes like beer.
Yeah. Well, and that's something I'm really starting to notice with these Breckenridge. You can still taste that hint of the ale that the other ones that we've had have all had. You know, so I mean, at least that's its saving grace. I don't like IPAs.
No, yeah, this is it's not as tough to chew down as some of my favorite IPAs, like Zombie Dust. That's just a kick in the nuts, man. Like Steve, that's like chewing on grass. It's pretty bitter, but you still get that hint. Excuse me, of citrusness.
This proves that the up and coming generation of drinkers are truly just psychopaths.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is what I assume is gin's worst nightmare. Just sour pine needles.
Yeah, that's and it's really right on the money. Where can I go with that? Yeah, and it's crazy. You kind of talk to our dads and granddads and what they used to drink. I mentioned way back when my dad was a big old style guy. If that's and that was the fancy beer back then, Steve. If you're drinking old style, you're a high class guy.
Yeah, well, I
it's
have
not Miller Lite. It's not
I have a fun story that you bring up. The thought process of this. We're going to segue back to one of our favorite topics. My dad.
Right.
So my dad. He used to tell us all these, big fish tales when we were kids, like all dads do. And he actually has the slides to back it up, the slideshows. So as we find stuff in his house, we always make him take them out and tell us the stories, because the man has not forgotten anything. You owe him lunch money from 3rd grade.
Yeah.
He's got it in his brain. He's coming for it still.
To the penny. In fact,
I swear,
hey,
we're gonna go to a funeral from somebody he knew in grade school and tell the widow, "Hey, your husband owed me $5 back in the day. It's time to pay up."
Well, and you slide him $5, and he says, "All right, cool. You still owe me $3.56."
Right?
And Steve's laughing because he's like, "Yeah, that's pretty dead nuts."
So, my dad, back in their day, they did not have all the beers, like they were not drinking Colorado beers without going to Colorado. So
they couldn't even drink Coors back then.
And this is where our story's going. Him and his buddy would take out a trip to go out to California for some people they knew to do whatever they were doing. And my dad did a lot of stuff.
Right.
But he would drive out there, and on their way back, they would fill up the whole car with Coors beer.
Yeah.
And he would bring it back, and he would sell it to people.
Right. Why wouldn't you?
And this was before, and it's
Isn't that
dead.
the basis of Smokey and the Bandit?
Yeah.
Like the whole movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Actually, yeah. That's pretty close.
As I joke, all movies were written about him.
Yeah.
When we joke all the time, you hear me say it, that the Dos Equis guy is based off of my dad.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucked.
But did you have that math teacher in Gateway that I had? The most interesting man guy?
You went to Gateway?
Yeah, I did.
But did you have the old man who was like the most interesting man, where he wanted to talk history?
Yes.
During math. Okay,
I know who you're talking about. Yes.
He was the most interesting man.
He was, but
he taught math, but he wanted to teach history.
But when you truly think about it, Steve, if you look at a picture of the Dos Equis guy, and we're talking the original one that told us to stay thirsty, my friends.
Yep.
Not the new, younger, hip
There's
one.
A new one?
Yeah, they're trying to make him a newer,
I
hipper.
don't have cable. I don't watch commercials.
But if you look at the seasoned old guy, would you not say that could possibly be my dad?
Oh yeah, definitely.
When you look at
He's
him,
even got the white hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They could be brothers.
I'll really blow your mind. I'll send you a picture later on. I'm gonna send you a picture of Sammy Hagar dressed as the Dos Equis man, and that really looks like Mike Calicci. That's insane.
The Dos Equis guy looks like, the old FBI Files
No.
show. Whenever they would recreate a scene, I always say reenactment, and then the actors would look kind of like the people who actually did, and then they would cut to the real person. The Dos Equis guy looks like the reenactment actor of the day. Like,
isn't it crazy how you always have that one teacher that sticks out? Like, you guys obviously had that Gateway teacher. I had an old Jew as a history teacher, and we get so far between him and I, because we got all the jokes, we get so far off tangent. you know, and like we are now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just, we're not even talking about history anymore. We're talking about, you know, whatever it is
Right.
we're
Rob-
talking about.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
so-
a Mel Brooks guy.
Yeah.
If you're Jewish, you got to be a
Oh,
Mel
yeah.
Brooks guy.
Who-
Are you kidding?
Who isn't a Mel Brooks guy?
That-
I mean,
Mel
if you're
Brooks
not,
is just-
go
yeah,
watch
he's
them
the
all.
best.
Yeah, seriously.
I personally enjoy heavily the musical number of High Anxiety.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've seen High Anxiety.
It's like all the Alfred Hitchcock movies
Yeah.
smashed together.
He is-
into
he is
like
like a,
scary movie kind of style.
He's
where
like a
it's-
therapist that has a fear of heights.
Yeah.
And it's Mel Brooks. It's actually
Right.
Mel Brooks playing the character.
Right,
You know,
he does
some
a
of
lot of
his movies he
in the
just makes
background.
small appearances, but this one he was the main character. It was all about him.
See, I like Silent Movie. That's one of my favorite movies of all time by Mel Brooks
I've never
because
seen that one.
they don't talk at all.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a silent movie. They
Oh,
do.
but they just don't talk. It
Oh
sounds like
man,
a music
Yeah.
and they
movie.
do, and you can almost read their lips because they're so purposefully doing everything, and they'll come up as one word,
Oh,
ouch,
yeah.
or something like that, and it's so goddamn funny. It's
Yeah.
so good.
I always-
They say one word in the whole thing, and it's the mime that does the talking. That's the funniest part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
always
the mime
enjoyed the.
talks. Oh, that's
The
yeah, I
mime
see that.
says one word, and that's the only spoken word in the
Oh,
movie.
that's fucking-
It's so
I
funny.
enjoyed the one where it's what is it? It's the history of the world.
History of the World Part 1. That was another
where
good
they
one.
where they ask him, what's your occupation? You know, oh, a bullshitter. Yeah, you know, have you bullshitted today? No. Have you tried to bullshit today? Yes. You know, just like he was trying to collect unemployment because he was a philosopher.
Yeah, right. I
And that's what
remember
he's.
that.
Oh, a bullshitter. You know, and that just makes it. You know, that's why I think we're all friends from that aspect. You know,
Right. Yep.
the Mel Brooks, the Leslie Nielsen, you know, all of that type of humor where it's just, you know, literal.
Yeah.
You know,
Literal, yeah.
so to get back to that was the fun story from my dad of
forgot
his
about the
adventures,
story
but he would he'd show these slides, and he had this slide of a bear, and it's like,
Okay.
Dad, what's
Like just
what's
stand
what's
there
up with
like
this?
this, like
Mm,
posing for
or
a photo
Vince
with them,
McMahon?
or like
No,
a bear just in the
there's
wilderness?
just a bear.
Okay.
So apparently, the way the story goes, is his friend, and I don't remember his friend's name. I want to say it was like Jimmy something.
That was the name of the bear?
course it was.
No, that was the name. No, the bear's name was Fred Bear.
Oh,
no.
see, I was doing Walter Payton.
Yes, I know.
Right,
No,
right.
his buddy that did all these trips with him, I think his name was Jimmy or something like that.
Okay.
I've never met him. They weren't friends for no reason.
Just going camping with a guy. You
Like
barely know.
literally, like
Yeah.
you know, when you ask him, Dad, why aren't you guys friends anymore? We just stopped hanging out.
Yeah, that'll happen.
You know, there's no
I've had friends like that.
there's no reason they stopped. He said he's sure they could probably just hang out again if they
Yeah.
ever started.
Yeah.
You know,
We just got to find
But-
him on Facebook.
but so he has this bear, and it's a slide of a bear. Dad, what's about the bear? Well, the bear was on the road. My mom goes, no, he's not telling the story right. You know, like his buddy would say, you know. So the way the story goes, and this is from my mom telling it, she goes, you know, Mike and his buddy are sitting in the car, and Mike starts slapping him on the chest. Stop, 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 stop! Slams on the brakes. What? I gotta take a picture. Take a picture of what? So he's standing there, and Howard from me to, you know, about the stairwell. So we're talking
Which
maybe,
isn't very far.
No.
you know, 6 feet tops. There's a bear standing up near the side of the road.
Wow.
And my dad stopped to take a picture.
Sure.
And he kept telling him, Mike, get in the
Sounds
car.
like
That's
it.
a bear. I know, I'm going to take a picture. Mike, get in the car. That's a bear. I'm going to take a picture. Hold on. Apparently this went on for like 15 to 20 minutes.
Well, you can't get a good picture while you're in the car.
Right, so
Yeah.
he's out of the car, and his buddy's like, close the door, get in the car, let's go, there's a bear.
Yeah.
You know, and that's,
You're dead. I'm take a picture
Yeah.
of this bear. And
I'm going to take a picture of this bear, and when you got the story of it, you go, yeah, why you got a picture of a bear? Well, I saw this bear, so I took a picture.
yeah.
You know, and like my mom came like running
Was
out
it
of the
standing?
living room.
Did it look pissed? Like he was?
It was just
Or
a bear.
just-
It's
it
just a
was on
bear
all fours.
standing there.
Was it standing
You know,
or on
I-
all fours?
I don't even remember.
Oh.
Honestly, it was probably sitting there, eating a jar of honey with a T-shirt
Oh,
on.
there you go. Well, I know
the
when
bear
bears
sitting
stand up, they
there.
always look pissed in the movies, so...
It's just one of those things when, you hear the stories from your parents and everything. So far, every story my dad has told has at least 50% of truth to it.
That sounds like something that we would have done, though. Like, that's the thing. Like, that sounds like someone in our group would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the difference is Steve would get out of the car to push Max back in the car.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be the one taking
No, we're not fighting a bear
Safety
today.
Steve would have taken over and been like, we need to get in the car and go.
All right,
we're gonna
so
go.
I got one more before we get back to this beer about Safety Steve.
Oh, God.
Safety Steve.
So back
It's been
in
a Steve hour.
back in the good old days, we had Bubba the Terrace van.
Oh, God.
It was Colin's parents' GMC, like 15-person van,
Nice.
and
No, it was a Ford.
was it a
It
Ford?
was a Ford Econoline.
Oh, sorry, that's right, because the GMC was the other car they had.
That was the new one.
My bad.
Yeah.
Right.
So I misspoke on the vehicle, but the same thought process. So we would go on grand adventures with all the people we hang out with that now just come to my house and hang out. So one day we were going, and this is where the joke came from, and you're gonna love this one because you're gonna remember it as I start to tell it. So we're pulling up to somebody's house at the end of the night, probably 12:30, 1 o'clock,
Nice.
and we're dropping off Alexis.
Well
And-
past curfew.
and Alexis was pissed off about something, so she wanted to go home. So we had to stop what we were doing, turn around, bring her home. So she gets out of the car. I mean, we're ready to Colin's ready to burn out backwards out of her driveway and get out of there because we were having fun. She was not.
Sure.
So
No, that sucks.
we're
Nobody
sitting
likes
there,
that.
and Steve
Yeah.
hops out of the car when she hops out of the van, and he's walking behind her, and we're like, Steve, what are you doing? Get in the car. Hold on, I got this. So he's walking behind her, and he's doing like an Elmer Fudd kind of sneak,
Oh, yeah.
walking with a shovel.
No. I had, like, a little army
Yeah, it was
spade,
it was
little
it was like
folding
a
pickaxe
folding
one,
like
yeah.
it was like a trench shovel.
Yep.
It would like
Very,
fold
very
up,
Quiet.
and
I don't know why I had that.
she walks around the corner, and you just see Steve take this like swing and does this, and it looked like he just decked her with this shovel, and we're all sitting here like, holy shit, and we're laughing our asses off about this, and he comes back and he goes, all right, the deed's done, let's go. So the joke became from Safety Steve, who was so worried about everybody else's safety,
Right.
that it became, when something was going awry, Steve, get the shovel.
Steve, get the shovel. We're gonna use that now. That's good.
And that was the whole thing. That was the story behind it. And like I said, it was a fantastic moment because just the swing. I mean, I
It
can
timed out really well.
I can picture the swing of the shovel still sitting in the second row seats through that window.
Wonderful.
Like that's something that you just.
Oddly enough, that's one of two shovel stories we have, actually. I'm thinking of the one, this was years ago, we were digging a fire pit in your parents'
That's
backyard.
right. I forgot about that.
Oh, and it also involves the old Caprice, too.
Yeah.
So, I don't remember why we were digging the fire pit.
I know exactly why. So,
Yeah.
Sam was having a birthday party at her house, and her mom got upset with her for some reason, and she canceled her birthday party.
Oh, wow.
So, me being a good boyfriend, I decided that I was going to throw her a camping party at my parents' house. So we set a tent up in the basement, and we were going to have a bonfire and everything, so we had to dig a fire pit.
Yeah.
My dad's like, well, you got to dig it. So we were digging it.
It's at night, too. So
Right.
this isn't during the day. This is, like, dark out.
Right.
And we can't see what we're doing. So I get the bright idea, well, I got an old police car with spotlights, so we fire up
Of
the
course
old
you did.
Chevy, pull it onto the lawn, and point the spotlights where we're digging. And who was calling?
I don't know.
Someone was calling me.
There were a bunch of people. We were supposed to be at somebody's house for a party.
Yeah.
And everybody kept wondering, like, well, where are you guys? Where are you guys? So
Oh, yeah.
they
Tell it better.
they ended up calling. They called me, and I just didn't answer because
Yeah.
we're digging a hole in the middle of night.
Yeah.
And then Steve answers the phone because I think it was maybe Marshall or Brad,
Someone kept calling.
Possibly Nora. It was that group of people where we were headed.
Yeah.
But they call and Steve answers his phone and goes, I'm digging a hole with Max. I'll call you when we're done. And hangs up the phone.
Yeah.
So
that's the way to do it.
We dig a little bit more. And the phone rings again. He picks it up and says, damn it. If you keep calling him, we're going to have to dig another hole.
Yeah.
Who was it?
I don't remember who kept calling, but they wanted to, whatever, again, probably Nora, someone in the group for the party. We were late, and we're digging this, and they kept saying, well, why are you digging a hole at night with Max? And then I said, I value my life, so I'm not going to answer that question.
So, I mean, that was that whole ordeal from that, just...
we had a lot of shovel stories.
Well, we did a lot of weird things, that it can be misconstrued by anybody over the years of, well, what were you doing? Well, it needed to get done.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Steve, you want to describe the can for everybody?
Oh, yeah, we got to get a can description.
So, this is a very fluorescent green color, hence, the Hop Peak name. It has the mountains in the background, but they're very kind of blended in, they're not as important anymore. But that's kind of standard Breckenridge tradition to have mountains in the background. And then we have, it looks like in front of us, looks like a compost heap, but it's a pile of hops and stuff with one giant hop, I don't know, hop head, hop something, in the middle. And then they've broken away from their Wild West font to more of a standard... what's some font names from Word?
Dude,
Come on, you don't know?
I only know the word Wingdings.
I thought you had
this
the
is not
corner
Wingdings.
on that
Yeah,
cover.
But they broke away from the Wild West font and it just says Hop Peak IPA, and I'm assuming this is the peak of the hops. They grow like mountains, I guess.
Or if you're asking Scoop, it's IPA.
IPA, there you go.
IPA, that's right. IPA.
Yeah.
How could we forget Scoop while drinking an IPA?
Yeah. Hey, those are good times too.
And then it has at the bottom a complex and aromatic with notes of citrus and pine. So it's a complex drink. So if you're a simple man, you should not be drinking.
He's right. It is a very
it's
complex
not a
drink.
drink. Yes.
All
And
right.
that's the description of the can.
Yeah, Steve did not drink any of this, by the way.
That's
Correct.
good for him, because I also did not want to drink any of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and
not
do you want to compare? Let's see how we're doing here. That's where I'm at drinking.
Yeah. Max is always a little bit faster than me. I like to enjoy my beer, so I always get made fun of a little bit for that. But I get less drunk. I drive home, and I spend way less money than everybody else. So eat a bag of dicks. That's all I have to say about that. So.
All right, so Howard, what do you think? How do you rate it?
Max, I rate it about the same I'd rate most of the Breckenridge. I'd say a half a nub up.
Okay, I don't like it because it's an IPA. It's
That's it.
It's nothing against Breckenridge.
No.
If I had choice to, drink IPAs versus, I don't know, straight bourbon, I'm drinking straight bourbon.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I'd take that burn down better than I can take. I can't handle these.
I don't
like them.
Fair enough.
So
I think that's it.
Howard, you felt my can, which means you know what time it is.
Yeah,
I am almost ready for another beer. So everybody, I am Max,
and I am Howard,
and we have Steve hanging out with us.
Hello.
We are Max and Howard drinking beer. Cheers.
Cheers.